ऐसे और वीडियोस के लिए मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें। 3, 2, 1, स्टार्ट।
Morality rests for its very meaning on the concepts of good and bad, where good refers to all thoughts and deeds that do not aim at or accomplish any harm or injury or do not involve an attempt to inflict suffering on others. Thus, morality, or what is not morality, is based on man's ability to understand, being able to sympathize, feel kindness and sorrow for, and identify himself with the suffering of his fellow man. 30. Only compassion can give rise to moral thoughts and feelings. Para. If we consider all those thoughts and deeds that are truly moral in character, we will see how compassion drives morality, depriving people of what is theirs or what must belong to them, what is called stealing for selfish ends, taunting or insulting others through words or action for the purpose of self gratification, violence expressed verbally or as acts of torture, killing, etc., for the sake of violence contradict morality as well as an inner feeling of kindness and compassion. Para. Truth is indeed a controversial aspect of morality, but almost always it can be justified as a moral principle on the basis of compassion. When we talk about speaking the truth in order not to hide what, if hidden, will only prove damaging to others, we are emphasizing the ability to feel for others. Again, often we purposely keep ourselves for communicating the truth as once revealed. It may hurt someone's feelings and sentiments, but keeping a person in the dark or denying him or her knowledge which he or she ought to have amounts to cheating another soul of its right to know that with which it has a concern, an anxious feeling to see that a person is not cheated of what is due to him or her may make us reveal the truth. Ultimately, it is the same feeling of being truthful in order not to betray another person that constitutes sexual morality in any relationship. A deep felt concern for the companion's feelings of hurt and rejection is necessary for the moral aspect to prevail. Para. When we talk about social morality of any kind, what comes into play is our ability to feel for the well being of our society. A certain moral code of conduct is ultimately necessary to ensure that the society does not fall prey to degeneration of values which would lead to rampant sufferings and ultimately chaos. It is a concern to help the society by safeguarding it from unwanted ills and malice and ensuring its well being that is at the root of social morality. Society's concerns are our concerns. Anything capable of causing a detrimental impact on it in the short term or in course of time is ultimately bound to affect us and our children. Para. There is the need to realize that human beings must continue to feel compassion for the sake of themselves as individuals as well as society. But like any other human trait, compassion ought to be continually exercised if it is to remain a dominant force. Unfortunately, in modern society, what we witness is a complete lack of kindness, public kindness, and sympathy between fellow beings. One can only shake one's head and say that just like other cherished values, even compassion is getting eroded in the hustle and bustle of the mechanical existence of these times. What remains is material values that look only towards immediate personal gains and in the process rid humans of whatever humanness is left in them. Morality is fast disappearing, it seems, but it need not be so if only we would tell ourselves that genuine feelings of the human heart, mainly compassion, need to survive for the betterment of the human society and mankind as a whole. After all, can humans rid themselves totally of all feelings of compassion, trying as hard as they may? Para. It is only by feeling for others' sorrows and sufferings that one can sympathize with them and help those in need. This is the underlying principle of all morality which has to survive, and that too abundantly if human society is to prosper in the real sense. Crime and punishment are perhaps as old as the human species itself. When one person snatched food or some necessary item from another, a crime was committed, and the victim would have probably retaliated to get back what he thought he was his. Maybe there was a fight unto death, and that was the end of it. But the word crime perhaps is not quite correct in the context, for the word denotes an act against law, and there was no real law prevalent that long ago. As humans bounded into groups and society was formed, concept of law and crime and the need to control that crime through punishment came into being. In primitive societies, crimes were treated as wrongs against a person and at other times against religious norms and group loyalty. Meting out punishment remained for long the prerogative of the individual or family that was wronged. It was vindictive, the primary motive being revenge other than correction, and often had no proportional relation to the gravity of the crime committed. Gradually, the idea of proportionate punishment evolved, as in the Mosaic law of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. As nations came into being, the institution of punishment was transferred into the hands of the state. A system of law now evolved to place crime and punishment in this context, and individuals were discouraged from taking the law into their own hands.